Welcome to the Breaker Bros. We're back. We're going to listen to some story time from head coach Zac Taylor talking about the decision to draft Joe Burrow.
But I'm going to play the audio now. All right. So you put it. I was going to ask you, like, hey, I hope I don't offend you with my Cincinnati Reds hat, but all right, let's listen to this audio.
Duke are kind of going through this. Take me through that process and what that entailed, and really how soon did you know, all right, Joe Burrow, this is the guy that we want. Can't wait to move forward with him. All the things that I know has you so excited about the future with him leading the way.
Yeah, so probably 5 days after the season ended, we knew we had the number one pick as soon as the last game. And so Brian and I really didn't wait. We went through and watched all 13 games, 15, whatever it was, probably within the first.
You remember the game where they lost to Miami in overtime? I feel like that's when they knew they had the.
But yeah, no, I think he realized he kind of slipped up.
Okay.
And some of our scouts had already done that. Mike Paulson, Duke Tobin, they'd already done that. So we watched all the quarterbacks. We had Justin Herbert at the Senior Bowl, so we made sure to watch all of his games before we actually put our hands on him at the Senior Bowl. He was really impressive. Watched a lot of those guys, Tua. But there was just something about Burrow, watching those games where you get through probably the Texas game, I think week 2 or week 3, it's like, all right, this guy, there's something unique about this guy. And then when you got to know him, the first time we ever met him was those 18 minutes. I talked to him once on the phone. We got to see him for 18 minutes. It was at first it was me and Mike Brown and Duke Tobin. Met with him for a couple of minutes, and then we had the interview process. But just really impressive. Probably sometime in March, we got a pretty good idea that this was our guy, and so got a chance to utilize all those interviews leading up to the draft to make sure it was the perfect fit. It sure was.
How hard was it to keep that secret? And was there an incentive to keep this secret? I always am confused when teams have the first pick and they're like, we're not telling it. Like, what was the point of keeping that secret? And I know it got out eventually that you guys are probably going to take him, but you never came out and were vocally like, Joe Burrow's the man.
Yeah, there's no reason to publicly. Joe knew, we knew. Sometimes the league likes to keep that stuff quiet, so you just don't make a big deal about it. That's easy.
See, I think it's more of like an NFL thing.
Just obviously questions that come at you, but Joe knew that he was going to be the number one pick, and we felt good about it.
That was just like the fact that he was candid about it.
Finally on the field. I know the injury was a short.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to sell like the draft, right? I mean, you don't want to have all the picks leaking. They got to get people to watch it. Draft makes a lot of money, right? It's like a really highly rated TV show. Like I think like the NFL draft did better than some, like in terms of ratings, than some NBA games. So it's a big deal. So they can't say who all the first round picks are going to be. No. All right. So according to Zac Taylor, the LSU versus Texas game was the big game that really convinced him that the Bengals should pick Joe Burrow. So well, why don't we just go back and look at the box score and see what Burrow did. So 31 of 39 for 471 yards. Is that good?
Seems pretty good. I mean, there was one interception.
Look at Ellinger too, man. Look at that. He did pretty good too. But this was like, what do we say? This was like week 3. Yeah, so at the time it was number 6 LSU versus number 10 Texas. So I guess this was week 2.
And I want to say the only interception he had was actually against the guy that we drafted. I want to say.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It should say here. Let's see here.
Yeah.
Play-by-play.
I saw it. It was. Yeah, probably the play-by-play. Looked like it was kind of early.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joseph Asai.
Oh yeah. QB Hurry by Joseph Asai. There we go. I guess the Bengals did watch this game, huh?
Well, I think there was another person that technically tipped it, but he was there to pick it off essentially. But it was a pretty solid play. Because after we picked Joseph Asai in the 3rd round, I was like, okay, well, let me look at some of the film.
There it is. Joe Burrow pass intercepted by Joseph Asai at the LSU 12.
And that's when I saw him. Return. I was like, hey, that's Joe Burrow. So I was like, they must have seen him too. Funny, huh?
They're like, we like that guy. Oh, there you go. Oh, I thought that was you, Jay Foster, but it's our cousin BJ.
Yep.
All right, let's go back to the individual stats. So the other thing of interest is like, okay, well, how did Jamar Chase do in this game? So Justin Jefferson had him on receptions, yards, and touchdowns, but still
Wow,
8
3
receptions,
TDs.
147 yards. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
So
and even Terrence Marshall had over 100 yards. That's
yeah,
it's a huge game.
yeah. Well, 471 yards passing. Um, pretty good. He was sacked 4 times. That's a lot.
Yeah, seems like he had to deal with pressure even in college.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's it's just a different type of pressure too when you get to the NFL because the players are much bigger and faster. So it's like a lot of the stuff that he got away with in college doesn't necessarily translate into the NFL. Even though it seemed like most of it did, though. Like the way he was able to escape a lot of just arm tackles was pretty impressive. Like just. But that's what I kind of worry about with him coming back from the injury this year is that I think he's going to lose some of that because there's no way, like, mentally he's going to be, like, there wanting to do all that extra stuff. Like, if I was him, I would definitely be a little bit cautious.
Yeah.
But
I think so. But I mean, you want him to not run around as much and throw it more, I think, going forward. I mean, as you get older.
yeah, so I would anticipate with the personnel that we have and just based off of the draft as well that we're going to have a lot of quick options. I think they expect Mixon to be like an every down back. So that just tells me there's always going to be like a dump off option. Because like if you think about it, like Mixon's always going to be in the flats or in the backfield or whatever to where he just dump it off or even get extra protection. And then I think a big acquisition that we don't even really talk about is that Thaddeus Moss. Like I think that's another security. Yeah, he's a sneaky good player, and he's one of those players that it's just
one
Joe
catch
Burrow's
for 15 yards. So,
but it's going to be that one catch for 15 yards for a first down that's going to extend the drive in the fourth quarter type deal. I feel like that's the type of player he is. So it's like he's that security blanket. He kind of reminds me of, and I'm not saying he's a great blocker. I don't know how well of a blocker he was, but remember Heath Miller from from the Steelers.
Heath Miller. I'm thinking Heath Schuler,
the
quarterback / senator or whatever.
Maybe I got his name wrong. But yeah, he was like I always thought like he was really sure-handed. He was never like a
there
tight
was
end.
only a way to figure this out. Let's just Google him.
Well, I feel like he could be like a Heath Miller type guy because it's like I remember him because I always hated him because he would always come up with a big first down. And I'm like, why do you never like guard this guy? Because he's just really smart and he had this.
But I mean, that was during the Marvin Lewis era of Bengals, right, where they never guarded tight ends.
Well, no, it's just because he's smart and he had a connection with the quarterback and he just knew like because that's what makes Joe Burrow so great is that we put him in an option where he's going to always have someone open based off the coverage, right? So if the tight end knows that and knows what space to fall into, he's always going to have someone open. So like I feel like he's going to have that connection with Moss. So it's going to be.
Well, if Moss is anywhere near as good as Heath Miller.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like I feel like in college that's how he was. Like from what I saw from the highlights, Moss was always like he had that big catch. Like he didn't always put up like big numbers, but he always had that one important catch.
I remembered watching him in college. There you go. Oh, he wasn't a senator. He was just in the house.
Just a hack.
Yeah. Oh well, I guess that's pretty good. Here you go. Here's his Pro Football Reference. So what if Thaddeus Moss is as good as Heath Schuler? Obviously a different position, but so probably somewhere between the Heaths, right?
Yeah, I feel like he's gonna have like literally a handful of catches that are gonna be like for first downs that are gonna be very pivotal.
Yeah, I mean, I think you take anybody, especially if it's low cost. Why not try out somebody from that LSU team. They had a lot of good players, especially on offense. So I'll take them all.